here on Highway 65 North, where you can see it's basically a carcass of a truck.
As soon as we hit that exit for 113 headed towards Woodland, I mean, it was off. Everybody off.
You're looking through Donut Cam right now. We're at Apple Hill High Hill Ranch. We're talking all things donuts. I'm actually learning the ins and outs of the industry. You know, after you make your caramel apples, you gotta clean the pan. This is your kitchen, utility, and laundry room. And over there is your master bedroom, bath, and closets. We'll show you how it all fits together coming up.
Alisa, I'm so glad we can see you, and you are so bundled up.
I am. I mean, just call me Nanook of the North. I can't feel my lips. No, it's really actually very beautiful out here, but it is really cold. I haven't been in this kind of weather in a really long time, and it's so nice to be able to do it. Let's talk to John Slaughter, though, and talk about what's going on up here, because for people who love this kind of weather and want to come out and enjoy it, this is what they've been waiting for, right?
Absolutely. This is so exciting. Fresh snow. The snow guns are running, and it means that Boreal is going to open pretty soon.
There's a lot of snow out here, and you know, it's the kind of snow, this is really dry stuff. Take a look at it. If it was wet, it would set a lot easier, so they've had to really pat it down, but when they do, it really stays because it's pretty dry snow. So if they get some more wet, really wet snow, that would be pretty helpful. But a lot going on here. I'm going to try to stay as warm as I possibly can, even if Darren thinks I look like I'm wearing a spacesuit. Darren, wow. They used to make submarines in this building. Yeah. I mean, when I drove up, I'll just tell you as a sidebar, it was like driving up to Area 51. It's just this beacon of light in the middle of nowhere. It is gorgeous, and I'll have more on that later. But yeah, submarines right in this building. And now they're doing something different. They're making homes inside this building. Great choice. I just want to show you something. Earlier when we first started this morning, you were looking at this flooring, this heated flooring, and now if you look, they've got this frame built around it, and that just shows you how quickly these houses are going up, how they can put them together. They're very sound. We're here with Rosemary Wardell. She is, get this, an interior designer, a builder, been in the biz in a long time, but you're also a customer of these blue homes. You really believe in it, and I wanted to show you the home we've been showing all morning. It's hers. What's your favorite part about these homes? I mean, to look at this, you really can't see until you see the finished product how stunning they can be. I think of prefab, I think of a box.
So do a lot of people, and this picture is obviously shows you it is not a box, as well as less expensive to run.
That's right, less expensive to maintain them. So there you go. Tia?
Getting ready to do the drill. Hey, Alisa.
Hey, look, you know that if you live in the state of California, you really need to be prepared. And we're here in Miss Day's class. She's let me interrupt math at one of these. And these kids are really upset about interrupting math, but I'm going to talk to them really quickly about it. So first, what do you do if there's an earthquake?
Go under the table.
Okay. And then what do you do after you go under the table?
Like make yourself as small as you can.
Okay, so now that you're small as you can, what do you do?
Close your eyes and keep your ears open so you can listen for directions.
Okay. So have you ever been in an earthquake yet?
No.
Are you afraid?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what I think. After doing these drills, you'll probably be more prepared in case there is an earthquake, even not at school, anywhere you go. Do you think that's true?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so basically what's going to happen at 10:18 is these students are going to do what? Show me how it works. They're getting under their desks, okay? And these are nice round desks. Now, they are actually by a window, and that window, the drapes are closed there, so they're trying to protect themselves from any flying glass or anything. This is part of that drill. There are 9 million people registered across the state of California who, you guys can come out of the desk, under the desk, by the way. You can go back to math, who are participating in this. This is the Great Shakeout. And here in California, I grew up here as a student here. I had to do just that during a real earthquake, and I was really happy that I knew it. I didn't have to think about it. It just was automatic. We'll be showing you a little more coming up on how this all plays out. What do Big Bird and Jim Lair have in common? Both might be out of a job if Mitt Romney is elected president.
I'm going to stop the subsidy to PBS. I'm going to stop other things. I like PBS. I love Big Bird. I actually like you too. But I'm not going to keep on spending money on things to borrow money from China to pay for.
Valid point and good business, or just grandstanding and great TV?
The amount of funding that would be taken out of the federal budget is the equivalent of trying to make room on your hard drive by deleting a text message.
David Lowe is the president and general manager of KVIE, the local PBS station, which employs 75 people and creates 2 hours of original content and airs several locally produced products. Lowe points out this isn't the first time a politician has come after public broadcasting. Back in 1994, Newt Gingrich called for the privatization of PBS.
The way that people responded is equivalent to what happened when Newt Gingrich tried to zero out funding for public broadcasting, and the phone calls just lit up.
So why is Sesame Street such prime real estate? The federal government spends roughly $444 million on PBS broadcasting, not including NPR, Stars and Stripes, and any other government-subsidized media broadcast. According to PBS, that equals $1.35 per American a year. Opponents argue that in areas like New York, there are multiple stations carrying the same programming, and that equals waste.
PBS is great, but I don't think that it's something that the government has to, it's an entitlement.
But 236 million Americans tune into PBS annually, and according to PBS, 69% of American viewers oppose eliminating funding, 27% are in favor, and 4% aren't sure. But last night, after the debate was over, 11 million tweets went out for the Big Bird, and he was the 4th most Googled search. So what does it all mean?
Big Bird is a trusted guide for children and has been loved by generations.
1918, World War I was about to come to an end. The German military high command attempts its final large-scale offensive, and Mather Airfield is tapped as a new flying school for pilots, named Mather after 2nd Lieutenant Carl Mather, who was killed during a training. The first unit to be stationed there was the 283rd Aero Squadron. The runways, mere grass-covered fields. Concrete wouldn't show up until the late 30s. After the Great War, the base was inactive. In 1933, many of the buildings were torn down. But in 1941, the bombing of Pearl Harbor would mark the beginning of World War II and the call for Mather to train more pilots. Once again, this grand dame of a base would play a pivotal role in supporting the war effort.
Stay at home, get off the roads, and stay off.
87-year-old Virginia Campanelle remembers she was at the base from 1943 to 1947, just 19 years old. She gave birth to the first baby on base. Someone gave her a ride to the hospital because she and her husband could only afford a bicycle. The hospital was a tent with canvas. Virginia says a jackrabbit hopped across her bed. Even during this miracle of birth, the war was never far from her mind.
Got to remember, the B-25s were... they dominated the field. They were flying in and out all night long when I was in labor.
Known now as Mother Mather, Virginia recalls her late husband Frank. He was commander of the Guards. They were married 65 years.
I lost the love of my life 5 years ago, but these memories is what keeps me going.
These were extraordinary times. In 1945, the 509th Composite Group landed at Mather before heading to the South Pacific. Because of the extreme security of their mission, dropping the atomic bomb on Hiroshima, rumor has it the commanding general of Mather was told at gunpoint he was not allowed to board the B-29 bomber. By the late 1950s, Mather Field became Mather Air Force Base. It could now support B-52s and KC-135s.
During the Cold War, their mission was to sit nuclear alert with nuclear weapons on board to go ahead and be a deterrent.
Paul Bonnier is now the Mather Airport manager, but his tour of duty began years ago as a student.
I was assigned to Mather Air Force Base in September '79 as a navigator student. Next
as an instructor, then as part of the air show, and now in his current position. He jokes he was also base golf champ. In 1988, Mather was closed, decommissioned. It would seem this grand old lady of a base was at the end. But this tough old bird hung in there, and in 1955 she became the Sacramento Mather Airport. With one of the longest runways in Northern California at 11,300 feet long, Mather is showing off. She's almost 100 years old and still has possibilities.
You can probably land the space shuttle on this runway because it is so long and it is so well put together.
Visibly transformed, a beacon of time gone by but not forgotten. And if you listen closely, the sound of freedom still roars through her ground.